Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood, Season 2. This is going to be such an amazing season, and I want to thank all of you for joining me once again. And for those of you that are meeting me for the first time, well, I am Tanya E. Hood, a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, it simply means I've worn a lot of different hats in my life that have helped me develop a full range of strategies and actionable steps that I've used to help my clients make a strategic impact, both personally and professionally, to have better than what life has been giving them. Red Alert Diaries is based on the life lessons from my premier book, Red Alert. Is He the One? The Pocket Guide to Finding the Love of Your Life. And if you read my book, you already know that I got married at 21. And after 11 years of marriage, I found myself going through a divorce, having to raise my two sons alone. To reset my life and survive my divorce, I took the time I needed to get to know me better, which opened me up to new love again. So now I'm in a new marriage to the love of my life and my best friend, which just proves there is life after divorce. On this podcast, we have conversations that's real talk about marriage, divorce, money, and legacy. I want you to join me on the journey. Call 240 532 2227. That's 240 532 2227. I want this podcast to challenge your thoughts and inspire you to grow. So together, we can operate in excellence. Today, I want to share with you a story that changed my life. This story took me from a position of financial devastation that I found myself in after my divorce. You see, a divorce often leaves you broken in numerous places. And this story seemed like it was almost written just for me when I was sitting in the middle of that moment. You see, this lady in the story had a loss. Her husband died, and she was left to have raised her two children, sons also, just like mine, raising two sons alone. It was so bad that she had the creditors constantly calling her, the type that always acts like it's their money that you borrowed and they have to be the ones to make sure that they get it back. Well, this lady had a similar situation, but it seemed far worse because in her case, the debt collector said that they were coming to take her sons in order to have them work off the debt that her husband owed. You see, it's already bad enough when you find yourself broken from the loss of a loved one, and then to have the compounded effect of excess chaos. You see, when you go into a place where your relationships are broken and things just fall apart, it doesn't just fall apart in one area. This woman had her heartbreak from her husband's death, and then the financial devastation take place as well. That can be overpowering. And often it moves into more than one or two areas. So this lady already had to deal with the relational brokenness. She had to also deal with the financial brokenness. And I can't even begin to say what else she dealt with. But for me, on my end, by going through a divorce, I had the relationship breakdown, the financial breakdown, but I also had a personal breakdown because my ex left me thinking something was wrong with me. And the parts of who I am that I thought were loving, kind, and considerate didn't keep this relationship worth. Whenever you go through a breakdown, this story gave me some insight about some tools, some steps, and strategies that you can use. And I'm going to share them with you because they were helpful for me. So, one of the first things that she did was take a moment to see what she had. I know she did an assessment because the story goes on to say that there was a gentleman, let's say he was a coach to her husband, that she went to ask for help. If she was willing to ask for help, there was a couple of things that she had to do because this man's question to her was, "What do you have?" She gave an answer. And in order for her to give an answer, she had to know. So, one of the first things you must do when you find yourself in chaos and devastation is to discover what you have. What is it that you bring that you can use that is valuable? And most of the time, we don't even know what that looks like. See, if you're a person that's supportive and helpful and giving and caring, you do that for everybody else. But what you do not often see is that is a strength that you bring to the table. See, this woman had no idea while she was in the middle of nurturing, while she was in the middle of caring, while she was in the middle of giving what she had of herself to others, that she was a networker, a collaborator, a supporter. She was the person that people went to when they needed some little bit of loving care. Those elements are gifts that you bring to the world. I often share, and if you go back and you listen to some of the past podcasts, you will know that I give you insight to know that you are an answered prayer. I personally do not believe that anybody is born on this planet unless there's a prayer or a problem that needs to be answered. You are someone's answered prayer. You have in the seat of your soul the solution that someone needs. You need to be mindful of what that is. So take the time to discover what gifts you bring, what skills you bring, what talent it is, because you are already getting paid for it. If you are an individual that's working your 9 to 5, somebody is paying you for your gift, your skill, and your talent. You are bringing something that they need and they are willing to pay for it. Well, if they are willing to pay for it and you get more clarity about it, you can maximize how to get paid for that as well. So this lady in the story realized that she had something of value. And the coach that she went to was someone that told her to go back and get other people's containers. You see, when you get some insight about how to maximize what you're doing, it may give you some advice that you may not have been ready for. And you may have to go outside of your immediate circle because you see, this lady didn't go to one of her friends or family members. She took one step outside of her circle and went to someone else. And that gentleman gave her insight. So if you need to take one step outside your circle to find a coach, to find a mentor, to find some support other than what you're currently receiving, do it. Do it now. And it may have to mean that you pause for a second and release some of your pride to share the broken parts of you so that others can get an insight about how to support you. Because I'm certain that this woman did not want to go around letting the world know that she was a widow, that she had debts, and that people were coming to take her kids to pay it off. But some part of her knew she had to step past the shame, swallow her pride, and move into a place that will help her get to her best position. But when you find your place in shame, it often finds a bed in fear, and fear will cause you to be closed off and lose the foundation of whatever little piece that you may have had. I want you to know that if you make a decision to stop allowing the shame to hold you hostage, you will then be able to position yourself to be the content creator. Because in this day and age, in this time period, that is where the everyday man can bridge the wealth gap. It will give you an opportunity to start making mega millions moving forward in the future. Just learn what your skill is, apply the proper container, and move into the direction without dealing with the shame or the guilt. And when you release your pride over it will give you the opportunity to ask for support and help. Because when this lady asked for the support that she needed, she got several containers and then she poured what she had into each of them and was able to sell that to get her debts cleared up. My first opportunity of pouring my knowledge into a container was with real estate investing. Now, I've never really done real estate investing like it's done to make mega millions, but I wanted to just have enough money to take my kids on vacation, enough money to make certain that I could pay the debts that I owed, enough money to just be comfortable and breathe from month to month. Because there was a moment in my life where I had way too much month at the end of my money. So I took my real estate knowledge and I leveraged it. I leveraged it to the point that I cleared up $35,000 worth of debt in 2 years. That is something that you can do as well. So if you find yourself in a financial devastation, broken and lost in more than one area of your life, take this woman's story and an element of mine and know you can get through it. I had to learn that my natural, logical, analytical mind gives me the ability to create strategies. So in my premier book, Red Alert, Is He the One? It may sound like it's just about finding a man, but it's a strategy that you can use to gain more clarity about who you are at the core of your being so that you can move into your next trajectory. And from that book, I used another container, this podcast, to share some insight with you, some lessons and some tools and some strategies that I walk through. And I also have a course, which is another container. You see where I'm going with this? So, what containers can you put your gifts, your skills, your talents, what you have brought to the world as a solution? Find the container that fits what you're doing. And if you need some help, reach out, find someone to do it. I am an organizational assessment coach that has been certified to help people gain insight about their core strengths. If you're looking for support there, just let me know. In the meantime, if you don't remember anything else that I have shared today, here's the one thing I want you to know. You have the solution that you need to move past your financial devastation, your relational devastation, or any other thing that you feel is broken in your world. Because brokenness often crosses over a couple of different areas. You can get whole, you can get healed, and it's within you. You just may need someone the same way that this lady needed someone to give her some guidance and direction so that she can maximize what she needed. Because once she finished getting all of those containers and she began to sell what she had, she paid off all her debts. She got herself to a better position where she was able to be okay and have things stored up for her sons in the future. You see, what you have is also built for legacy, but you need to get it out. So if you want me to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can go to the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can be a support system to one another. And if you're on Clubhouse, join me in the Red Alert Diaries room at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can continue this conversation or we can start a new one. This is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.